What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and start to convert this so that it gets set up to be used as a TD tool. First requirement for a TD tool, we're going to come up here to our top level dynamic set shooter system, and we need to specify an emitter type. Whether or not we use it, we have to specify one so the TD tool will be able to be used. So we're going to go ahead and just say a point creates those inputs. We're just going to ignore them for now. What we are going to do, let's actually resize this a little bit. We need to have a way to convert to pick objects using object particle. The way we're going to do this is we're going to have this shooter's object particle selected, and we're going to right click in space here and say use UI as TD tool. And what's going to happen is now that UI disappears from inside TP, but if we select thinking particles itself and come to the command panel, you'll see that that shooters is now listed with the same user interface available. Then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing for the collision environment so that our users can pick those objects. And then we're going to come down here to the shooting. And we actually want to, let's expose the rate. Yes. So we'll use the rate as an input here. We'll come to this shooting dynamic set. We'll create a rollout. We're going to name this shooting. And then we're going to go ahead and drag that rate into here. And let's go ahead and use a slider just for fun. We'll come in and make dust, and make dust. Let's go ahead and expose the shot, which is the pistol shot value. We're going to go ahead and drag that shot value up here, and then in this make dust we're going to add a rollout, and we'll call this make dust. Make sure shot is part of that. Let's go ahead and use a slider as well. And so you got to think, how many total dust hits do we want being born? 100 should be fine for now. Okay, so we're pretty much set up. We've got some rollouts created. We've got we're using these UIs as TD tools, and then we're going to go ahead and we've got our emitter for this top dynamic set to a point. And we can go ahead and just save this. We'll save it in the test2 category as shooter system. Use exist or create. And we're going to go ahead and save this scene. And we're going to save this as TD tool to start. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and select TP. Actually, let's just go ahead and reset the scene. Now what we'll do is we will create some new environment geometry. And we're going to go ahead and create some new shooters. Okay, and we're going to pretend like we're an artist now, and an artist, we can go ahead and have them just drop in a thinking system. And remember, they're going to come here to this drop down and pick the category, which is the test2, and there's that shooter system. And what they're going to do is they're going to drop that shooter system out in the scene. It's not a very good color there. Let's go ahead and change that. And we'll switch it around here. Okay, so we've got a shooter system now. When they select that shooter system and come to the modify panel, they're going to have all those user interfaces and rollouts available that we created. You can see that the object particle not only has a shooters, which is the name of that object particle operator, but also has the random seed, which is also part of the object particle. Anyway, our end user is going to go ahead and he's going to pick these objects here. And he's going to have to still know how to do the changes effect all and do the object particle. But he doesn't have to specify a group. Remember that we actually set that up in TP to actually force that group there. Let's select that again. And then collision environment, we'll go ahead and pick that and that as well. We'll do changes effect to all, instance shape, and track object particle. Okay, so we've got our shooters picked and our object picked. Let's see, I think we've left one very large step out, and that is the node. The node, we need to actually allow our user to pick the node. So we're going to go ahead and drag and drop that node up there. And now we've got the node. We'll say drop that there. And we'll say node call env is what we're going to name it. Okay, so we're going to actually have to resave this TD tool and then reload it. Creator exists. Let's go ahead and delete those instances of it, and we'll go ahead and create a new TP. Oops. And what we want to do is pretend like we're a user again and come down here to test2, create a shooter system. In our shooter system, we're going to go ahead and pick our shooters. We're going to pick our collision objects. And then we need to pick the collision node. Now you remember that we need groups as objects to be turned on. One way that you might program this is to actually just record it in the, let's see, where is that here? There's some Mac script that you could execute, maybe make a button for them. Okay, now that groups as objects is turned on, we can go ahead and pick the collision environment. We're going to specify how many dust hits to make, and we'll also specify a shooting rate. And so there we have those being created. So there are a few extra steps for our users to have to be able to step through some of the UI, but still we're able to create a system that we can hand off to them and have them use without actually having to wire up and know how to control all the inputs and outputs. Okay, we're going to go ahead and save this as TD Tools end, and we'll move on.